Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson 2.1.6 on simple partial divisions. The previous lesson was on simple complete divisions, where within each macrobeat, we divided all of the microbeats into divisions. So, one macrobeat quarter note, so both of the eighth notes are divided into 16th notes, both of the microbeats are divided into divisions. Here we're dealing with partial divisions, where only one of the two eighth notes is going to be divided into 16th notes. We're still going to use the same sorts of syllables. So if you have one eighth note, then the next note is still going to be a D. 1D. And then if you have a 16th note there, 1D me. 1D me, 2D me, 3D me, 4D me. And you can do the reverse. You could split the first eighth note into two 16th notes. 1 could D, 2 could D, 1 could D, 2 could D, and get that. So some examples of this. Here we go. This first line. 1D me 2D, 1D me 2, 1D me 2 could D me 1. And the second line gives the other possibility. 1 could D, 2D, 1 could D, 2, 1 could D, 2 could D me 1. Saying these syllables is going to help reinforce them. Practicing just saying them. Let's find one that has both. Line 5. 1, 2D me, 1D, 2 could D, 1D me, 2D me, 1 could D me 2. You want to get to the point where it's just fluent, it's not something you have to think about, it just kind of happens. One more thing I do want to mention. In the previous unit, we learned about the quarter rest, which was that Z plus C squiggly thing, and that's silence equal to 1 quarter note worth of time. Here you have a half rest and a whole rest. So they look pretty similar. They're both just these rectangles. A half rest sits on the third line. You want to make sure it goes about like halfway between the third and the fourth line, and it's touching the third line. If you're just writing on a single line, it would just go right above. The whole rest hangs from the fourth line. And again, you want to make sure it touches the fourth line, goes about halfway in between. If you write something ambiguous, like where it's floating in the middle between the two, or it's like touching both of them, that's a problem, because I don't know whether it's a half rest or a whole rest. So, not that, not that. Must be very clearly sitting from the third line or hanging from the fourth line. If you're writing this in a single line, it would just hang. The other weird thing, half rest is always equivalent in duration to a half note. A whole rest can be equivalent to a whole note. It can also represent an entire bar of rest in any meter. So, if I'm in 3/4, you might think, oh, well, I need a half rest plus a quarter rest. You could do that, but you could also do a dotted half rest if that was your jam. But what you want to do is actually just write a whole rest. This is 1 bar of rest in any meter. This could be 6/8. This could be 7 hedgehog. Still a whole rest. That's just how it works. That is the convention that we have. So, that's all I got for now. I will see you next time in section 2.2.